We're going.
Oh, I need to turn my shit.
We're live, baby. We are live.
Hey.
Oh,
We're not
here
even
we
going to
are.
count down. I ain't even giving a
We're here.
countdown
Here
tonight.
we are.
Oh, dang it.
Hey
No
guys,
need for a countdown.
I got to start the show off by saying I had a great day today. I took my dog to the vet. We got her a full cancer screening, and she's healthy. So
Yes.
I-
Hey,
that
that's
was-
That is awesome.
I've
That's
been
an
sweating that a little bit.
immediate
She's been
win.
acting, you know what I mean? She's been acting kind of mopey. We're start freaking out. You know, you don't know. And then a couple friends have issues, so we took her to the vet today. Got her ultrasound, X-rays, all that. Lola girl, it got a clean bill of health. 91.5 pounds of nothing but pure sweetheart. So I'm happy.
Sweetheart.
My wife and I are relaxed now that we know. Okay, check that off the list. She's good. She's good. You know?
Yes.
That's awesome, man. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that is. That's
Random-
great news, man.
Yeah.
It's
That
freaking
is
great
great
news.
news.
I mean, everybody out there, you know, we've got people are jumping in and all that. We've always got to have love for our animals, man. I tell you, my poor little, I'm kind of on the other side of things, Handler. I'm not asking for sympathy, but my poor little weenie dog, Coco, she's having a tough time. She's 11. She has a bad back, you know, it's a dachshund thing. But then all of a sudden last night, bam, she just started whimpering, and it's like her shoulder. I'm thinking she's getting arthritis or something. We're going to take her to get checked out, but she's not doing too good. And we're coming out. The whole house has the flu. Unbeknownst to, we didn't realize we were whatever, dude. But we're rocking and rolling.
Yeah,
I
we
feel
are.
good. This is the first time I've felt good since last week. So hey, we got us a
good,
bunch of
man.
people in
Yeah,
here.
well,
Wayne is in here. Wayne
Prayers for your
Folis,
pup, no
welcome.
doubt.
We got Bubba Fan 69
Heck yeah,
here
we do.
with the
Always
Tigs
in
and
here.
Bigs.
Always in here
Tigs and
representing.
Bigs. Paul Rogers in the house.
My boy,
Absolutely.
Paul
You know
Rogers.
it.
Hey, brother.
Mortar's in the house.
Bad company.
Yes,
You know
sir.
what? Bubba Army in Upstate Redneck is in the house. Bubba Army, let's go. We love the
Heck
Bubba
yeah, we
Army.
do.
We can't thank you guys enough. And I'm sure some of y'all, we hadn't heard a lot of reaction. Kind of like I said, I've been under the weather. We've been running the roads doing stuff. What'd y'all think of that last show? What'd you think of the show that dropped this past Friday? That was fun. And
Yep.
Yes, it was.
man,
Yes, it was.
how much fun is this one going to be for everybody, especially the Bubba Army, this Friday, boys?
Oh, it's going to be real good.
It was a
It's gonna be
treat.
real
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Yes, it was.
Treat.
Yes, it was.
Treat.
It really was, man. I learned
Well, I
so
guess Seth
much
go ahead and talk
about
about it,
Seth.
so I guess we can mention it. Yeah, I forgot he did talk about it on Bubba Show. So, yeah, dude,
Yeah,
Seth
he
came
did.
in.
I mean,
He was going to spend 20 minutes with us, and next thing you know, an hour. Well, it's funny,
An
we're
hour,
about
right?
25 minutes in, and he's
Yeah,
like, hey,
about
we're
an
going
hour.
to get started. It's like, we've been recording for 25 minutes.
yeah, I looked. I think that was at about the 31-minute mark of the episode. He's like, oh, I thought we were just shooting the shit. Nah, man, that's what we do. That's what this
exactly
is.
what
That's
we
what
do.
this is, you know? It makes
hang
me
sesh.
happy that that people are starting to notice that's what we've always wanted this to be. It's like a bunch of dudes just sitting at the bar, chilling, having some conversation, seeing, you know, just talking about stuff. That's
Telling
what it
lies
is.
and-
Exactly.
And that's how he
Stories.
perceives it. So it was awesome.
Yes.
Mortar
absolutely.
loved it. Mortar loved it. Thought it was a great show. It was
Good,
awesome.
man. Glad you like it.
Bubba Fan, it was good. Operation Pigmentation, crazy with the crack smoker.
I know that's
How
insane,
crazy
right?
was that?
Unbelievable. That's unreal. That's so good. Yeah,
You
those
know,
guys are. I mean,
some of that stuff hits home, you know, too. When you've lived on the dark side a little bit, that's tough. That's
Yeah.
a tough topic right there. I'm glad it's them doing it, but not us. But tough topic
right.
right there, buddy.
The Pompano story. Blazy's Pompano story was fantastic. It did pretty good on socials.
True
It didn't
story.
do Bubba good on socials, you know, but for us, for our little show, it did pretty well.
They do good. Yeah.
It's a
Trying
great
to be,
story.
Lacey trying to be nice and ends up now he can't even enjoy his experience at his favorite little convenience store anymore. Just ruined the whole
But
thing.
I
Just trying to be nice.
I
Trying to do
think
too
we can
much,
all
Lacey.
agree that we need a follow up, though. Like, I know it's
need to interview
uncomfortable,
this
but-
lady.
What should we do? What should I go in there and
Damn
do?
right.
I'll go do it. What should I do?
I
What-
think-
I know
go
you
in and
will.
just ask her again,
What do
did
y'all
you
think,
ever
Chat?
get
I
anything
mean,
on
you
this?
definitely we got to get the laugh. I mean, we got to get the we got to get that
I
laugh
say you.
on camera.
I say you try to. You try to ask the daughter. You try to find the daughter, the girl you gave them to again. Just see if
Yeah.
you run into her again, and then
What
say, "Hey,
you
look,
dig-
remember I
dig-
gave you
dig
those
in.
fish? I asked your mom. She said she never got them. What happened there?" And just see what she says.
Just get to the bottom of this thing, huh?
Yeah.
And then maybe I
think
record
think
that.
those
Send
people
Alex
deserve it.
Stein over there.
Maybe I should. Maybe I do that, and then go back and show the mom the video. I mean, like, hey, this is what she said. She said she gave it to you.
What if we turn a pompano, fucking stolen pompano story into like this huge media craze that gets all this attention? Like, there's a helicopter flying over.
Stole
Below
the
us is where the pompano incident went down. She's still not fessing up that she took her mother's pompano.
We got a search crew out here looking. They're scoping the area. They think the pompano may be buried behind the Shell station.
Yeah.
There is no telling where this is going to lead. No telling. What's up, JD?
JD Marsh,
JD.
Ladies and
barbecue,
gentlemen. Man,
beef, everything. That dude's a man.
He is the man, and we have a freaking great show coming out that we have already recorded with him. But man, I gotta talk. Appreciate him joining in, dude. So I had a crawfish boil this past Friday. I didn't realize I was sick. That's neither here nor there. I wasn't Friday. I was Saturday. And, man, we got in it and started just, I finally was able to use that Breggy Bomb seasoning. I'm going to call it the Pantano. Or I believe that's what's called. We're going to call it that. I'm not going to call it the Breggy Bomb anymore. But it's not on the market yet. You can't get it yet. But it will be coming out next year. It is an amazing crab boil, folks. I mean, it's hands down. I had my buddy Gil Broussard over. He is the biggest critic I know of crawfish, period. Like, he is the critic. And his daughter. And both of them just, wow, the flavor. It's very citrusy. It is not salty at all. It is not salty. Yeah, it is all flavor. And I was kind of talking to JD about that, and I was like, dude, we really loved it. In fact, we cooked 3 sacks, I only had one bag of that. I added maybe 2.5 pounds of Louisiana Fire for the rest of the boil, and that was it. Wow. And they were just money. I didn't have to add more. Like,
they used the
it had so much.
So it just kept it rolling.
And then And then on top of all that, it's like a perfect little storm happened. I mean, I like the way I do crawfish. I do them pretty damn well, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, they're not bad. I mean, they're close to mine. They're really close.
Yeah, and this will be hashed out live at some point, probably next year. Thanks crawfish and drought. But next year we're going to have a little better setup, I do believe, at the Floribama. And we'll make that happen. We'll see. We'll see.
The bull ball, you use the bull ball system, the round pot with the bull ball system.
Yes.
Because that way you don't have to add water, so you're not having to add seasoning every time. You're keeping that original bag of the Pantano bull season,
yes.
dry
and holy cow, does that boil boss work?
Yeah, it's amazing, right? What a great idea.
Unbelievable. What a great
idea.
idea.
The paddle.
So turn it off, and we put the paddle in there, and I wanted to watch it. I was like, how long is this going to take? Like 8-10 minutes, something 20 minutes. I mean, it takes 30 to 45 minutes generally for a crawfish to sink, just naturally. And even if you put a bag of ice in there still, which you're diluting the water. This thing, dude, it took it down 4.5 minutes. We boiled crawfish from like 6:30. We were done at 9 with 3 sacks and one single 60-quart pot. Wow. That's unheard of.
That's
dude.
60-quart pot. That's a small pot.
Yes.
Yeah.
60-quart
bull
pot.
balls.
Bull balls. I mean, it's 100% why it works so well.
I'm hoping I get to use it this weekend. I think I just called the seafood market down there, and I can get them at about $3 a pound, which is still higher than I really want to do. But
it's
I'm
not
over
bad
here,
though.
Right?
That's not bad in Florida. No,
it's not bad.
No.
And so I'm about to pull
we paid
the trigger,
$250
I think, and do a makeshift one on. I say makeshift. 1 maybe 2 sack deal, but like just bring it together quickly. I should say, not some big deal. So I think we're gonna do that at the Bay Club House. That's over there on the bay. It's awesome, dude. We got 6 bay views and got the big dock, got the screened-in area out there, got ping pong tables out there. So I think we may do that Sunday. I'm eyeballing Sunday. So we'll see. We'll see. I'll let you know. I did talk.
I like it. Please do. Bubba Fan wants to know our thoughts on Howard Stern. He may be woke now, but he's still the GOAT. I love Howard Stern. I've never really, honestly, back in the days whenever they were all rocking and rolling, I wasn't really listening to Shock Jock Radio and all of that stuff. But one thing that I do like with Howard Stern, I think he's one of the greatest interviewers of our generation, especially in the last decade, I would say, or so. Woke or not, that dude can interview people very well. He has such a rich voice, and it's just he's so dialed in It's unbelievable.
Yes, he is.
And I love the live. Lately, I see the YouTube videos all the time of the live music that he has on his show. You know,
That's what I was going to say. He does a lot of different stuff. He has all types of people. It's kind of like Rogan, you know, is morphed into a different version of that. But Stern always had great bands, great musicians, singers, songwriters. I mean, they had the weirdos and crazy people too. But it was, I mean, high level stars and talented people. And yes, agreed, Brantley. He always did a good job talking to him, interviewing him. He would get wonky on stuff, but it was radio. You know, it was still in that format.
That's right.
But I agree. You know, he's still the GOAT for all that. I mean, he created a genre.
Howard
There
Stern,
was no,
man,
That's right.
You know what I mean?
City
Like, whatever.
star
And dude,
like
let's
him.
just be real. Like, think about the level he's on now, and like he's operating in a different place. Like, his experiences in life are different than ours right now. You know what I mean? Like, so we can't talk about today, and like, you know, everybody's views change, and where you are, and your position, and your view. Right? It's your perspective.
Yeah.
Your perspective shifts, and suddenly you're looking, you see it this way. It looks a little different. You know what I mean? So,
Yep. I agree totally. But yeah, man, the music, I didn't realize, I mean, I knew she could sing, but Kate Hudson, I've just seen that recently. She has an album that's out. I've listened to it. It's good. It's great.
Oh, wow.
Dude, she can sing. I mean, she's unbelievable. And she was on Howard Stern. She did a cover of Stone Temple Pilots' Vaseline, and she did something else too, another cover. It was unbelievable. She's awesome. Man. She's pretty hot.
met her once.
oh yeah.
You met her?
Back in the day. Yeah, I met.
that's cool.
I met
Of
in
course you did,
Montgomery.
Handler.
We played Wayne Mills' band played. I think it was either Montgomery City Stages or Birmingham Jazz Jubilee City Fest, whatever it was, one of those. And we had opened up we played one of the stages before George Jones, and Black Crows were playing at the other stage. So we ended up backstage, and I, of course, I worked my way up to side stage and told her hello.
Conveniently. Yeah, well, yeah.
Shocker of the year.
It was great.
I don't
Didn't
blame
get to
you.
go backstage last night at Stained and Seether concert, but
You did?
definitely had a good time. I did not.
Oh, you
no.
didn't? Oh, okay.
No. But great concert. No, we talked about that on something else. But yeah, I got to go to a rock concert last night, and it was awesome, man. Seether,
dude.
killer.
They're always killer. They're one of my
and
favorite
amazing.
alternative
Yeah,
bands,
cool,
man.
Stain's production and sound, and man, it was on point. 10 out of 10. 10 out of
Awesome.
10.
I love
I'm a
hearing
pretty harsh
that.
critic. 10 out of 10 though. And
Yeah,
that's
you
not
are.
an easy
Yeah,
amphitheater.
you should be. You should
Well,
be a harsh
and
critic.
I've heard other bands in that same. I've heard a lot of bands now because I've probably been to the Wharf Amphitheater in Orange Beach more than any other concert venue to go watch concerts now, because I've been to a handful in the past year, and I haven't been to that many concerts outside of ones I've worked over the years. But now going that many times, seeing enough variety of bands, I know what sound can be like in there, and it can be a challenge. But man, they killed it last night.
They nailed it.
And hell, Blasey Grice said he heard it from his back porch at his house, and you know how far Grice lives
Dang,
from
that's crazy.
the
Heck
wharf.
yeah, it is. Yeah.
I told him it was punching me in the chest, like it was. We were just like, whoa, it was wild.
That's
man.
why I love a
Yes.
rock show, baby.
Yeah, it was good.
Hell
It was
yeah.
good. Anyway,
Hell
enough
yeah.
about me. Blasey, what's going on in the world of weirdness? What we got going on today?
Man, we're over here just hanging out again in lovely Props Brewery. It is right now. It is Steve's karaoke. What is it? Karaoke? No, music bingo tonight. Yeah, he does karaoke on Thursday nights. We got music bingo tonight going over here at Props Brewery.
Did he get your tables? Did you get your tables claimed today?
I got. It's so funny. All right, so music bingo starts at 6. I got here literally at 2 o'clock. I went to the gym, came in here about 2. I said, I got plenty of time. I'll grab these barrels, because the music bingo guy likes to use, there's 3 of these rolling barrels. He likes to use all 3. Now, he brings his own, he got his own setup and everything, but he likes to use 1 to put his monitor on, and then he likes to use 2 to just protect his speakers.
Little area.
And so,
yeah.
dude, he had already got here and set up and was gone. I was like, you got to be kidding me. What? The place don't open till 3. I was like, I cannot beat this guy for anything. So we made it. There's a couple other barrels up there. So Joe, the general manager, and I, we finagled it around. So we got 2 barrels in here. We got him still set up. I didn't mess him up at all tonight. So everything's good. But yeah, trust me, I'm in the gym. I even quit. I did like 7 or 8 sets, and I was like, God, I think he's going to beat me there somehow. I got to get out of here. And I ran over here. Yeah, he didn't beat me here. He'd already set up and left and went on to take a nap, So, wow. But yeah, we're set up here. And across from me, we are running for the first time our first real in-house studio guest here at Prop Studios here.
Yes.
And
Yes,
sitting
yes,
right
yes.
across from me, we have the one and only, our resident alien expert
From parts unknown.
from parts. I don't know where this guy's from. I have no idea. We just talk. And he tells me a lot of information. And I was finally, the
He
one day we
does.
were talking, I was like, dude, I think you need to share this with the world. You know what I mean? Like that, this is a good introduction. So tonight, what we're going to do, we're going to bring in Bowser's
Browser.
Bowser's the guy off Nintendo. Anyway, so Bowser, we're going to bring in Bowser and going to let him give us a light introduction. I don't want to overwhelm our audience out there and get too far off in the woods.
Yeah.
So without any further ado, Brantley, let's bring him on in here, the one and only Bowser.
Bowser.
What's up, everybody?
Bowser. Hey, buddy.
Dude, thank you so much for coming on. Pumped.
Thank you guys for having me.
Pumped to have you,
I'm
brother.
excited. Good evening, Bubba Army. Good evening, Tigs Bits crew, Tigs Bits
Yes,
family.
sir.
I'm excited
Yes,
to get
sir.
introduced to y'all and really drop some knowledge tonight.
This is going to be so much fun.
It is gonna
We were just making sure before we jumped on, making sure everybody's mic check, before we went live. And
How we sounding?
we sound good. I think we sound
Cool.
good. Let us know out there. I think it sounds good, and it sounds good here. I think everything's sounding good. But we were kind of talking like this is going to be a fun show for us. We kind of been rolling hard. We have been producing a bunch of shows. We've been dropping them and making them and recording them and canning them and all of that good stuff. But this is one we're going to get to sit back and just listen a little bit and then just spitball our own questions. I think that y'all in the chat, y'all are going to want to do the same too. I will try to keep up with this as fast as I can. And but yeah, dude, this is going to be fun. I'm pumped.
I am too.
Same. I'm waiting for my popcorn to be ready. I got my soda here. I'm ready. It's like I'm at the movies. This is prime time for me. This is great.
Oh, this is so good.
All right, well, let's get into it.
You ready? You ready
without-
to get in it? All
Yeah,
right,
of
let's
course.
do it. Let's
get
do
weird.
it.
Without further ado, let me just give a quick intro. Everybody knows aliens. You see the green or gray heads with the big black eyes. And I think aliens have really been an existential question for humans for as long as we can remember. I think there's two main questions at the end of the day that we all focus on is where did we come from and why are we here? And once we realize that nobody really has the answer to those, we look around in the universe and say, well, shit, does anybody else have the answer? And that's where we look up at the sky for these aliens. We look around just like we have here. We have these ancient drawings. I mean, these are cave drawings on the top right from about 3,000 years ago. The one to the left was an ancient Sumerian drawing, and the one to the bottom right is actually a Mediterranean drawing of a child in a spaceship. Some people attribute that to the fetal trajectory that a sperm cell takes, but I don't think you draw something that cool without seeing something in the sky. There's actually a really cool one. If you go to the next slide real quick, I'll let you guys try to spot the UFO in that top left corner there. This is a medieval parade circa 1480-ish, and that little top hat looking thing in the top left corner.
I see it.
It's interesting. It's interesting that they include that in a lively city. Besides all the diseases and bubonic plagues going on,
Wow, that's kind of
the aliens are probably laughing. They said, "We'll be back in 600 years."
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
When was this made? When was this drawing done?
1400s, medieval ages.
Wow, that's crazy
Yeah.
with a spaceship in the top left corner. That's wild.
So let's transition to modern era. Kenneth Arnold, he was an aviator, a businessman, and a politician in the 1940s. In 1947, he was flying around in his little two-seater plane. Planes had just been invented 30 years prior. So now, if you're a successful man, you get a plane, you start flying around. And he reported seeing 9 saucer-like objects. Now, the misconception that he had was he said they looked like they were saucers skipping across the water. And later, the news media reported that they looked like flying saucers. But this is the drawing that he created with a professional artist, and that's what he said the items looked like that he saw flipping across the water, which is interesting because that is a lot different than a lot of the other UFOs we see. And I mean, as we get into more and more videos and pictures, we'll see some more stuff that shape really doesn't matter. It's about the underlying technologies. So.
And that guy doesn't look like he's eating mushrooms, so that's not. I don't think that has anything to do with that guy.
No, I don't either.
No, that
This-
guy's
He's like
Not
buttoned
even
up
much
Tom
right now.
Bean. You know what I mean? He's kind of buttoned up.
Yes.
tight. Yeah, yeah.
So the same year,
Tom Bean.
the same year as Mr. Arnold came the infamous Roswell, which everybody knows, New Mexico, aliens. I love to include this little paper right here because this is the official Roswell Daily Record that says RAAF captures flying saucer on ranch in Roswell region. Now, of course, the government says, well, it was a weather balloon. Don't worry about it, blah, 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 blah. There's a little rendering to the right of what they might have seen, but this basically starked the lore and now nostalgia of the 40s and 50s Roswell base. There's reports of farmers and ranchers out there seeing 9 to 15 crafts flying around with lights darting around. Very credible stuff, but for a long time, U.S. government, rightfully so, because we didn't know in the Cold War era if this was Russia, if this was China, if this was an enemy of the state. You want to keep that under wraps because the last thing we want as a State Department is to have that published in papers so that they know, okay, we know we're there, okay. It's better for us to keep things private to the public. You don't want to cause mass hysteria. So I completely understand their direction there. If we can go to the next slide real quick.
Bring it on in.
Oh yeah, you can't just let everybody, because then you've got to know what it is too. When it's international like that, there's all the other big powers in the world at that time, and you know the implications of what the possibilities could be. You can't let that cat out of the bag. You don't want Russia,
Exactly.
Japan, and everybody knowing, and then they're going to send somebody trying to find it, or who knows.
And also the collective consciousness of the 40s and 50s. I think if we had thrown aliens on top of Cold War, post-World War I, it might have caused a bit of an
A
issue.
little much, yeah.
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 So this right here is actually one of the coolest parts. This is Project Blue Book. After these sightings, the government established a program to basically monitor all unidentified aerial phenomena. And over the course of 12 years, I believe, 1957 and 1969, they recorded over 12,000 sightings. Now, 90% of these were airplanes, weather balloons, people on mushrooms, like you said. But 6% of them were unidentifiable. And unfortunately, the cameras at the time were not great, but it is stated in this that 94% of the sightings could be attributed to earthly findings, but 6% are unaccounted for. So that left a little bit of a gray area in these findings.
Wild. That is wild.
So when was this Project Blue Book? Was when era?
Project Blue Book was established, it was called Project Sign, I believe, for 2
Yeah.
years. And then when the CIA was taken over in 1957, it was called Project Blue Book.
Okay.
And there's a little side note for the future. Project Blue Beam is another project that we will get into in the future.
Blue beam or
beam.
bean?
Mhm.
Beam, like
Beam is
laser
in like
beam?
light. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it makes sense. Just trying to bring Tom Bean back into this thing. All right. So,
Project buttoned up Tom Bean.
So this is the Varginha, or Virginia, if you're not Brazilian. This was in the south of Brazil. Basically, this was an incident, and I'll read it to you. In 1996, residents of Varginha, Brazil, claimed seeing one or more strange creatures and at least one identified flying object. Basically, a UFO crash landed nearby a all-female school on a farmland in Brazil. Now, this drawing was done by several of the art students there because when they found it, they reported that it looked like it was shaking and needed help and it was scared. And so this is the picture they depicted. Now, government agents quickly came in, sorted it out, and the government of Brazil has stated that nothing ever happened and it was a misconception and, there's nothing there. Move along, people. No need to panic.
I think I saw some stuff on this, and this is
There's a
one
great
also-
documentary
there's
about
a
this.
I've seen
Yeah.
that. It's unbelievable how they went around and made everybody shut up. And even though everybody watched them, from what I understood, they captured this alien and they got it into a car and they drove it to like a hospital, and all the things to do to tell people to be quiet, and all the people that came forward and they were told to be quiet. It's kind of crazy, man. It's a pretty wild. When you put all those stories together collectively, it's pretty dang interesting, man.
The women described the creature as a large-headed biped with spots like veins on the skin and some bumps on the head. Eyes were two huge red balls.
whoa.
Could you
Wow.
imagine?
And like school kids saw it too, didn't they? At a school. somewhere. They saw it.
And they assumed it was injured or sick, so they quickly tried to approach it and help out, and apparently it scattered away. And when they told the authorities about it, it was a big cover-up job. Unfortunately, government of Brazil probably does not have the officiality of U.S., so those documents are probably gone forever, and they won't be turning up in 50 years in a declassification FOIA report. But
Right.
we have the documentary.
That documentary is awesome. I can't think of the name of it right now, but that documentary is really cool. I forget that guy that did it.
There's also that recent documentary that was out last year about.
I like what Ig said.
Yeah.
The 4 or 5 different instances. Oh gosh, what was it called? Bowles, you know the one that came out last year. It had the one. It had the European when all the school kids saw the plane land in the 70s, and there was one in Africa.
Where there were like
Yeah,
3 or 4
series. It was a series.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
different
yeah.
ones. Yes.
Yeah, it was on Netflix.
Yes, last year. That was
Maybe I'm
all
blending up
those.
stories of Brazil and those kids. I think I was. Yeah, I think I.
It's on Netflix. UFO Declassified.
Yes.
That sounds right. Yeah. Dude, there's so many wild things that just, that just, it's out there. There's no doubt. We're going to keep going. I don't want to jump in. We'll jump into that at the end. So, are you ready for the next slide?
We can expand on that right now. Yeah. What is crazy is that this gap that takes place in documentation from the end of the Cold War until the next slide, which you can bring up if you want. To me, the Joe Rogan experience with Lazar and then Fravor kind of resurged the modern interest and acceptance in aliens. Because for a long time, if you had said, "Oh, I saw this crazy thing," everybody's going to look at you like, "What are you talking about, man?"
Right.
We're two-dimensional creatures, meaning two-dimensional in our three-dimensional space. Nobody was really thinking about that. You got bills to pay. You're not worried about what's in the sky.
Yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned, if you're really interested in this stuff, Bob Lazar is a great intro to this whole thing. Bob Lazar was a scientist on the Los Alamos Project. He gives a detailed 2-hour explanation of how that project worked. Lazar is a very accredited engineer and physicist. He was brought in to study the propulsion systems of these spacecrafts. So everything was segregated by division. All he had access to was his team of him and 2 other people. And all they had to study was this thing called element 115, which was the fuel for these aircrafts. Now, this fuel, he hypothesizes and they hypothesize that basically it provides some sort of anti-gravitational element to the point where if you imagine a bowling ball on, a table, if the table was kind of like a soft surface, like a clay or a foam, and you roll the foam this way, it's going to move through the foam that way. So basically with how this anti-gravitational technology would work is it uses gravity to distort in the direction you want the ship to move in, which explains how they don't use ice engines, combustion engines to propel. He did tell a funny story, well, I don't know if it's that funny, where he was basically like, they wouldn't tell me what happened to the guy that was there before me. But basically all they said to me was he got a little too cocky with the element 115 and tried to poke it with a hot stick. And that's why there was a new facility and the old one was in this exploded ground.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
So,
Wow.
Yeah, and it's funny and it's interesting because this goes back to the cover up. Even in that inside, once it's official, our scientists and our research teams working on this, they compartmentalize it where no one team of people knows enough to put it all together.
Yes.
That was another level to the
Plausible
security on that.
deniability.
where Lazar got caught and actually got kicked off the project was he was on it for about 1.5 years, and then he started bringing his buddies up to the Los Alamos mountains with, a 12-pack of beer, being like, "Hey, watch these things. They do night tests. They fly them around.
Yep.
Come watch." And then after a couple times, all of a sudden, lights turn on around him. There's people with guns. "What are you doing there?" Blah, blah, blah. Loses his security clearance, loses all his credibility. He's shunned from the media. He tried to bring it to the public about 30 years ago. Nobody
they
really
pulled
listened to him.
and
Yeah.
they ruined him. Like they pulled his degree. Like said he
Yep.
never even went to college. I mean, they just did a whole big clean.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a great documentary on him on Netflix. Jeremy Corbell produced it, who's a great researcher into this whole field. And it is funny because in the end, they allude to him having element 115 still. And they ask him the question, and he just gives this little smirk, and he says, "I don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah.
But he said he gets raided by feds like once every quarter just to see if he's got anything. So
Wow.
Crazy.
the gentleman on the right is Commander David Fravor. He was a U.S. naval pilot. He helped kind of spark and carry on the resurgence that Lazar started mainstream culturally when he came on and addressed the Pentagon UFO videos that him and his crew recorded off the coast of USS Truman in 2004, 2015, and 2014. These videos are very interesting. They're extremely legitimate. They were released to the public by the Pentagon in 2019 and 2020. Commander Fravor goes on Joe Rogan as well, and he basically gives a 3-hour interview of, Joe's asking all the high questions of like, what did it feel like? And he gives detailed scientific explanations of what he thinks he saw, what they moved like, what they acted like. A lot of them were going into the ocean, which is another theory we can get to. A lot of them were flying around, and there's instances where they sit still for 20 minutes and they can jam the radar of the ships or of the fighters that are tracking them, and then they'll zoom off 20 miles away in 60 seconds, pop up on their radar over there. So it's incredible stories.
Yeah.
If you're interested in the stuff, I would recommend taking a look at those. I'm sure most people have already seen them, but this is just an introduction.
Hey guys, I got to say something real quick. Listen, hey, Brantley, I told you, Tigs, I told you, JR, I told you. I said, hey, I got this guy, man. I'm telling you, he's really dialed into this alien stuff. He's gonna bring value. And I showed you the video, like the impromptu thing. I was like, here, tell me why. And like just through the camera in his face.
I was a little banged up during that video, by the way.
A little banged
I
up.
threw that thing in your face. I didn't give you any opportunity to prepare at all. I'd actually already hit record and said, tell me why. Did I not do good? Did I not bring somebody good?
Oh yeah, you did. Let's
guy,
pat
man.
Blasey on the back, everybody.
Yeah. I mean,
But look,
I'm feeling
this
good.
is
I'm feeling like I just burst something here. Like, man, look
well,
at
you
this
have.
guy.
You
Pulled him out of the
completely
ground.
have.
This
You
is what we
completely
here.
have. And,
Yeah.
and look, everybody, y'all listening to this, give this a like, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do. Please do. One thing I'd like to mention, Blasey, is we have a new thing. We've been getting questions, DMs. People have been coming to us. They want to support the show. How can we support the show? We don't have a PayPal. We're not going there yet. We do have a PayPal. We're not using that yet. But you can support the show. We have created a Patreon, folks. And what we are going to do, I'm going to send the link now. I'm going to put it in the chat. I don't know if it'll work. That'll work. But I'm going to put it in the chat. It is also in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. It's free to join it. I don't know what we're going to do with it, but we do have a membership wall. I can tell you what we're going to do with that. In that membership wall behind that, we're going to put exclusive content. And when I say exclusive, I'm talking outtakes. We have podcasts that we have recorded that never aired for one reason or the other. They'll be funny. We'll describe those. We're going to put stuff like that.
100+ hours of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Of stuff that's just like what we want to do something with it. And the people who are supporting our show, those people that love us, that's a good way to do it, and it can help to support the show. And it's just $5. It's $5 a month. We're going to start there, and I think that's more than fair for these subscriptions and stuff. But anyhow, I just wanted to, since we took a little intermission, to pat you on the back. Everybody says great job, Mortar, my friend Lacey. So a little love, a little affirmation for
and this
Blasey
is going to give Blasey so much more room to do more content, y'all. This is going to
does.
We're going to be able to give Blasey
It just
so
helps
much
all
more
of us.
My
free
car,
time
like to go grab some crazy stuff. Like look at this. I mean, like this is a home run right here already. I can go ahead and say this is a home run already. If he walked away right now, that's a home run in my opinion.
We got a lot more, don't worry.
We got a lot more. I know it is. I know what's coming. Like, so, dude, I'm telling you what, Props Brewery produces some very interesting people, and there's some people with a lot of knowledge. I've got another guy. He's down right now with, I don't know what happened there. Something really strange there, but he lost, both of his tendons got destroyed. So he'll be back, though. He's off his feet, but he knows a lot of stuff, too. He could have been taken out. I'm thinking there's something going on there. So
You can
we'll
podcast
bring
in a
him in and
wheelchair.
talk about some military op stuff. So, yeah, dude, we're about to dive off into a world like there may be no return from, guys.
There may be, and Blasey has created a will for Bowser in case he gets knocked off, so he can take his MacBook Pro. But anyhow,
yes,
I digress. Are you
if something happens to him from this podcast? But
are you ready for the next? Are you ready for the next slide, Bowser?
Yeah, so basically the next slide just kind of continues, and it'll finish us out for this little introduction. I think that the response in 2020, DOD established this UAP task force. Notice how they changed the name from UFO, unidentified flying object, to UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena. I think that would encompass more questionable lightning storms, any other, that allows them to have a broader range of surveillance in the skies. I think that this was in a response, my opinion, to the mainstream resurgence of interest in these topics brought on by the likes of Rogan and Lex Friedman and all these culture figures. So basically, if you want to read that little document right here, August 4th, 2020, Deputy Secretary of Defense David L. Norquist approved the establishment of an unidentified aerial phenomena UAP task force. The Department of the Navy, under the cognizance of the Office of Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security, will lead the UAPTF. The Department of Defense established the UAPTF to improve its understanding of and to gain insight into the nature and origins of UAPs. The mission of the task force is to detect, analyze, and catalog UAPs that could potentially pose a threat to U.S. national security. Now, this is about 200 to 400-page documents, and I'm not going to lie to you guys, I did not read them all because it's a lot of government bureaucratic language. The main takeaway I had from them is the same as the Blue Beam documents, which is most of this is accounted for, weather balloons, planes. I mean, we have some pretty badass fighter jets these days that I'm sure an uncontacted tribe, if they saw a B-52, they'd be a little wowed.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
they did give credit to about 8% of the findings as unaccounted for. And as we start to surveil more, we're going to find more, and these will be an ongoing thing. Like I said to Blasey over here, I can just send videos every once in a while of cool stuff that, that comes out. So.
Heck yeah.
Has anyone ever taken that document, like put it in Chat GPT and asked it for like an outcome or something?
I should do that because I just got the GPT 4.-40, the new one they came out with yesterday, and that thing is badass. So I'll do that for the next time. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what it's on? It's just you can. It's part of. How do you get that?
You got to click on a button in there. You got to actually say, I want to get the 4.0 version. Like there's a thing it asks you.
It's only a Mac software. So right now it's only for Mac. Yeah.
It's only for Mac. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Even though Microsoft invested $10 billion in them.
Well, that's crazy.
Put it on Mac first.
So I was wondering because well, damn it. Can you do it on your phone?
Yes, you can do it on your phone.
Oh, yes, you can get GPT-4 on your phone. You can get all the DALL-E image creation, everything. The -40 is best on the Mac right now. I believe it'll be on the phone soon for the FaceTime features. They just did a presentation 2 days ago, and it was incredible. It was incredible.
I've got to dig into it because I love all of that stuff. I knew it was out, but I just haven't had a chance to catch up on what it's capable of. But I've been hearing that it's insane. So
it's really cool. I mean, they have like a whole FaceTime feature now where you can FaceTime it and be like, describe the room behind me, and for me to say, well, there's an ugly guy with a black room, and you know. So
wow,
that's really cool.
That's awesome. Holy cow! Yep, they're taking over. But anyhow, you ready for the next one?
Yes, so the next one is just the released Pentagon videos that Commander Fravor talks about on the Rogan episode. And I think if you're able to link the Wikipedia videos, we can take a look at those too real quick. That'll just give us an idea of some official F-16, F-18 footage that is documented by their radars. And what's really cool is that you can hear the pilots talking over the intercom, being as shocked as we are when we see them.
Y'all keep talking for a second. I'm going to pull that up. Okay.
No worries. No worries.
Yeah, no, that's good. Hey, so, you know what's so great about this place, though? We're in here. Beth comes up. You know, she's asking us. You got Joe, the general manager, Beth, his wife. They do such a great job of running this place and running all the.
Y'all gotta get down here.
Everything. They come. She comes over the window. Do y'all need a drink? You need anything? They take such good care of us here. You know what I mean? Like we have this whole place, like at our fingertips, however we want to use it, in any way that we can think of. They give us access. So again, thank you to Props Brewery. You guys are great. I mean, thank you so much. So
fantastic.
We're just glad to be
I can't wait to go there and party with you.
Oh man,
we'll see you soon, JR.
Yes, for sure.
All right, that's great. Perfect plug. We got.
All right, so this is the first
one. Our next sponsors coming up.
This video is called Gimbal. Released in January of 2015.
Dude, this is a fucking drone, bro. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
Notice the saucer
That's
shape.
not LNS though, is it? It's not. That is an LNS, dude. Well, if there's a this thing, it's rotating.
Oh, that's wild. That is wild.
Unbelievable. And those guys are freaked out. Those guys do that every single day, and they're freaked out, you know? Like,
And they're in the
That's a
and they're
really
in the
cool
most-
one.
And they're in the most high-tech piece of equipment our world can create, and
Yes,
they're
they are.
amazed by what this is doing. It's blowing their minds.
unbelievable.
That we
And,
know of.
Bowser, I've been to
we know
Laughlin Air Force Base outside of Las Vegas, Nevada before, and got to do a tour with the Thunderbirds some years back. We do a lot of USO and base visits in my job in country music. And it was really neat to see all that stuff back there, and our equipment and stuff. But I, of course, I had to ask one of them. I mean, I said, all that there's a bunch of aliens and stuff y'all got right there, don't you? And he's like, if I told you, I'd have to kill you, kind of thing.
Yep,
But he gave me the wink and the confirmation. Yes, they got all kinds of stuff.
course.
And then our government came out a few years ago and it said, yep, all the stuff we've heard, it's true, and no one cared. Everybody was worried about the Kardashians and shit.
They did it at the perfect time because it was right during COVID. They waited for the virus to shut down the world, and then they waited for the BLM riots to take over the country, and then they were like, perfect time.
And the
Perfect
Tiger
time.
King
Drop the
phenomenal.
UFOs.
Yeah. For
Joe
sure.
Exotic. Everybody's watching
Those
Joe
aliens are
Exotic.
real.
They're like, hey,
Joe
we've really
Exotic.
got a
So
little
this is
gray
the second
alien right
one.
here.
I believe this is the one where the thing disappears.
Okay.
Okay.
It just,
Yeah, there you go.
they can't keep up with it.
Yeah, it goes in the water and comes directly back out. At like,
Yep, it's just
Mach
hovering
9.
over the water.
Roger. They're troubleshooting. Did you box moving target? No, I took an auto track. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow, look at it fly.
That's insane. That's
And that- I mean,
absolutely
that-
insane.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
That was an extremely lucky lock by them because that thing's going fast as hell.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
those things typically can't lock on it going something going that fast.
That's crazy, man. That's just so crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's. Look, in my opinion, dude, if we think, or if anybody thinks we're here, like this is it, this is the only place that Earth is the only place that houses beings. Like, it's just foolish, really, at this point. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
because
After
of
all this.
because
Yeah.
of the infinite mass of space, there's just, I mean, by
It's
sheer
that simple. Yes.
just numbers. I mean, if
yes.
a bajillion, even if it's not close enough to even touch us, somewhere in the infinity of space, there's got
It's
to
so
be stuff.
conceited to even think that we're
It
the
also
only
plays
people.
into a little scientific idea called the Fermi paradox, where basically scientists in the 30s and 40s calculated the odds of life on a planet, or a planet and him having life. It was 0.00 blah, 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 compounded with the odds of that planet producing life, 0.000000 blah. And then the odds of that planet being in our near solar system, being able to send us radio signals, blah, blah, blah. And the odds of that lined up to be very likely that we would have heard from somebody by now. And that's the paradox, is like, why, according to these numbers, we should have already made contact. I like to pose a different theory where I think of us, if you walk by an anthill, you're not paying attention to the ants. The ants only know they're there when you stomp on them, but they don't think that it's a human stomping on you. They're just like, oh no, God rained down and destroyed our
Right.
living space. So, I like to think of these things as, if they're out there, as sort of looking at us like chimps in the zoo sometimes.
Because
Right.
it's kind of, I mean, they have to be.
Yeah.
Like it
We're there.
and dead.
We are their personal experiment. I mean,
Yes,
Yeah,
we
we're no
are.
threat to them. We're no
And
threat to them.
And I'm glad they
zero
haven't chosen to do what I used to do to ant beds as a kid. I used to have
Yeah.
to sit around the house by myself a lot, so I'd have multiple ant beds in the house. And what I started realizing, there's different types of ants in my yard. I had a pretty big, probably a 1.5, 2 acre lot, and growing up in Elba at the time. And I would go to the one ant bed and take like a scoop of like a big cup or something, and scoop up some ants and run to another ant bed and dump them on them and fight to the death. Dude, they will battle. Like, you could sit there. If you could film that, dude, they battle to the death. I mean, like, until,
Wow.
and then I'd go get more if I needed more. Like, okay, I feel like this fight's not quite equal. You know what I mean? Let me go get them some more.
Yeah. Even
Sign
They would
up
just
for
kill
our
each other.
Sign up for our Patreon page, and you can watch Blasey do
Ant
this
fights.
next week.
Hell yeah,
in
you
his
can.
yard.
You
I
can
used to do
also
ant
watch
fights
him
on Saturday morning,
extract
dude.
mole.
Yeah.
We have mole videos too,
Yeah.
of Blasey. That'll be
Ant
behind the
wars. I did ant
paywall.
wars as a kid. Dude, I used to do that all the time. I mean,
That's awesome.
There could be some psychological issues with that, Blasey, but we'll dive into that in another show.
We're having the therapist on next week. Therapist is
Yeah,
coming on next
yeah,
week.
yep. I'll bring
Dive
my
into
wife
that.
on.
Let's dive into that.
All
right, so the last slide before I-
We got to hit this. Iggy says he has 62,000 fire ant piles in his yard, and he's going to try that.
Let's
Report
go,
back. Report
Let's
back.
go, Iggy.
I'm not knocking you,
Promise you.
Blasey. I think it's a damn
Unbelievable.
great. I think it's a great idea.
It's a full war. Yes.
I'm disappointed in myself that I never thought about that, frankly. So, okay. Truth be known. All right. Sorry.
So this last slide, just to close up, like I said earlier, this was just an introduction. I wanted to get some official documents, official stories, mainstream narrative, as well as some historical stuff. Basically, I kind of listed some theories that people have popular. The atom bomb is a big theory where as soon as we split the atom, that's when these things started appearing. Now, those historic pictures that I showed at the beginning might say otherwise, but you can't always count on that. Somebody might have
Hey, but
misdrawn
we
something.
don't know. We've lost so much history. We don't know what those civilizations had.
Exactly, and we could go
offer
into
while they
Atlantis
came for
theory.
that.
We could go into
Yeah.
the Atlantis theory later as well. Yeah.
Mhm.
Ancient contact is what we just discussed. Other dimensions, people could think they come from, you can travel interdimensionally with these things. And another one is human-made, which is a topic that I think the next time I'm going to come on, I'm going to explore. There's a really credible theory in 2018. Some CIA docs got leaked that Hitler had a 2,500 mile per hour saucer that he would travel around in.
What?
It's also interesting to look into this thing called the Vril Society, VRIL. It was basically a fertility cult that Hitler kind of ran in his side ring, where these females would grow super, super long hair. And the idea behind that was that they would be able to contact otherworldly dimensions because the hair would somehow connect them to the energy of the universe. So that's a really interesting thing to look into.
Wow. I've never even heard of
Hitler
that.
might have been on some mushrooms. He was on all kinds of stuff. He was the original crack.
He was methed out for sure. Yeah.
Original
Yeah.
crackhead.
He was operating in a weird
He's
space,
for a
that's for
fact.
sure.
And then I know Tigs is into the theory of them being in the ocean, which is very credible to see that last video of him bouncing in and out. And
Oh,
coming
yeah.
out. So yeah,
We know more about space than we do the
exactly.
ocean. Are you kidding
Exactly.
me?
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
So I mean, I
hard to-
appreciate
it's
you
hard to
guys having me
explore.
on. I mean, this has been awesome to just enlighten, and this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yes,
Yeah,
I can't
dude.
wait
Yeah,
for our
I mean,
next
it's-
episode of this. This
Oh,
is
I
great,
mean,
man.
hey, chat, jump in if y'all have questions.
Absolutely.
Bowser's an expert, so he just wanted to
I
give
don't know
us
anything.
the 30,000 foot overview of it. Now, very well done, Bowser.
Yes,
Very well
excellent.
done. That you summed that up as well as I've ever heard anybody sum all of that up in
so
30
good.
minutes.
Thank you.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I appreciate the time, guys. This has been awesome. And like I said, I like to just give information and open up the space for dialogue. So, Chad, if you guys have suggestions or theories, we can dive into all that. It's lovely. I mean, what I'm thinking for the next part is that I go into specific stories or specific theories, and we can get a lot more detail with the explanations and information. So,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Hey,
thanks,
Bowser,
Mortar.
You just
like
became
I was
more
saying,
green.
what if, because we think there are lost technologies, and we know there's lost history, but we think there's a lost technology somehow that we created some of these mass structures and things that were created in ancient times, that the technology would be almost impossible to do these things, like build the pyramids, like
Yep.
several things.
Yeah.
Sonic
So-
resonance, frequency cutting.
Yeah, vibrations, the tuning fork thing, all that stuff. But wonder if that's why in these historic hieroglyphs and things like that, when they're coming, are we coming up with some kind of form of something then, and they're checking in on us, and then maybe sometimes they take it from us as why we don't have that ability now, and maybe that was the atomic thing. They had to check out and see what that was going to be, and they realized, well, they're just going to blow themselves up, no harm to us.
Yeah.
So
It's completely
I mean,
possible. I'll have to.
possible, right?
I got to get my spaceship after this. I'll ask the home planet what I can tell you guys.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Hey, I got another one.
Please do.
Have you watched the TV show or heard about the TV show Resident Alien?
Yes, I have. I've heard about
Dude,
it. I haven't seen it.
I've
yet.
The
watched
first
several
season or two is
episodes.
great. The first season or two is great. I think the first season was phenomenal. After that, I felt like they got a little lost trying to bring it back.
Oh, I'm sure.
I love that first season, though.
Most shows go
watched
too
it.
long because you can't. I mean, you watch any of these classic shows. By the end, they're grabbing for stuff. They're grabbing for stuff.
But yes,
so
I was enjoying that
I'm
for
on season
quite a
one.
minute. Yeah.
I'm on season 1, and I think it's funny as heck. I think
is.
it's great.
That
And
first
it's
season's
enough,
phenomenal.
and it's enough real stuff he's integrating
Iggy.
with it to make it almost it makes you think.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It is. It's kind of.
Have y'all seen, kind of unrelated, but maybe not really in a way? Have y'all seen Fallout? Have y'all finished that?
I've
not
heard it's really good. I've heard
mean,
Walter Goggins kills it.
Dude, he kills everything.
Yeah,
I love
he
that
does.
guy.
He
He's
does.
amazing in everything. He can be funny. He can be serious. He can definitely be funny, but he's pretty serious in this one. He's not really he has some quirky, funny moments, but dude, that show's so damn good. Like
I think
so
just a little
sad.
sidetrack.
I need more. I need
Yeah.
more.
I think, and I'll stand by this, and this is one of the last things I'll say. The best television show of all time is True Detective season 1 with Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson.
Unreal.
Dark,
Unreal.
but good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dark.
JR the Handler had the amazing opportunity of getting to interview Matthew McConaughey
Really?
with Justin Moore on the Justin Moore podcast. Like
Incredible guy.
hour and 45-minute show, wasn't it, Handler?
Yeah, we got
Man,
to talk to
damn
Fitz Matthews
good.
about an hour and a half. And yeah, I didn't even watch that show to talk about any of that with him because I didn't watch the show at the time. But have since, and yeah, wow.
Which is good. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the best way when you go in with someone like that because you don't want to spit the stuff back
That they
at
already
them that
know.
they've
Yeah.
already heard a million times. It's
Right.
just, man,
I
I
tell you,
agree.
hey, speaking
Great
of-
show.
And everybody chime in what you think the greatest one single season of any show was and what
Yeah.
that show was. I think for me, one that a lot of people don't remember is Bloodlines. If anybody remembers the movie
God
Bloodlines,
almighty,
season
that's so
1, where
good.
they're down in the Florida Keys,
Unbelievable.
the house, the bed and breakfast. I mean, that
Yes.
was Ozark for Ozark right
And
there,
they,
but
and
that
they
was
filmed
wild.
all of that down there too. They would go down there and film that. All of that film
in Alamorada or somewhere, huh?
Yes, Alamorada, all through that area and all. Because I've been down there and been to some of those places. I went down there where
Yeah.
he drowned his brother. I actually
Oh,
went to
wow.
that beach and yeah, I've been to that. What's that bar that I used to hang out in all the time? I forget the name
Yeah.
of that place in real life, but I've been there with a pool table. They're always shooting pool. Like, yeah, they filmed every bit of that there. Yeah, that's a phenomenal show if you've never seen
I
it.
thought so.
I haven't seen
it's,
it.
It's
I mean,
it's no Golden Girl season 9, but I mean it was good.
Brandon, you got to jump
Yeah.
off into that, dude. You got to. It's 2 or 3 seasons.
I will.
Of that is super
I'll-
good, and then I
I'll
forget
jump
which
in it.
season it kind of. They just try to figure things out, and it just kind of fades off. But yeah, get off in there.
I love the X-Files, man. I mean, I watched every damn episode of the X-Files. I think that was that alone kind of. I think that kind of helped move the conversation forward. Was
Right.
X-Files because they did reveal things that you're like, huh. Well,
Hey, I tell
bet
you
that
another
is
one-
true.
Well, another
right,
one that
you're
always
right,
kept
you're
the
right.
topic alive was Unsolved Mysteries too. Robert Stack,
For
all
sure.
those
Oh,
years.
yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
every other episode or two was something like that, and they didn't dismiss it either. They were like, "We don't know. Nobody still knows."
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
Sure
okay
looks-
to
sure
it's
looks
okay to
real to
admit
us.
it's okay to admit ignorance and lack of knowledge, which is what a lot of officiality like government doesn't
Right.
like to do. So
Well, that's what I looked up earlier. I looked up UFO sightings 2024, and it was like most of them were saying this could be first one's government BBC says that it could be military test trials. Most UFO sightings are military tests. Then the next one is the U.S. says most identified flying objects can be explained by man things. It's like there's no consistency, and they just shoot you all over the place. You know what I mean?
in my opinion, the only reliable source of news for these types of videos nowadays is citizen journalism. And so X is really good at that. But there's a good Facebook group called UFO Sightings where people will just post little videos, little everything. And it's quickly debunked in the comments. There's a lot of military people in there who say, oh, I know what that is. I know what that is. But 1 out of every 5 people are like, I don't know what that is. So I can include a lot of those when I do the weekly updates in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying
I'm
to
gonna
pull up a
join that.
graph on. That's what they were saying. The key to this may be crowdsourcing journalism on this and finding this information. If
You
enough
can't
people have a
depend on
picture,
You're right.
networks and those kinds of. There's too much
absolutely.
money involved, and then the government gets involved. I mean, it really and truly, we are in a citizen journalist kind of world now. That
Yep.
I mean, I know of people just like here locally in Baton Rouge that used to be on the news, had some issue or whatever, and now has her. It's called Unfiltered with Kieran, and she's unbelievable. She's one of the best journalists around here. She digs into the story. She's built a team around her. But you don't need a newsroom anymore. You don't need to work for these folks. If you're good enough, you're worth your salt. You can take off and do it on your own.
Yes, you can.
Exactly.
Hell yeah.
You can.
What's that guy on X? I know we see him all the time. Mario something. I don't know anything about him. I don't know his political leanings or anything, but he has some good content, and he brings a lot of Mario Naval or something like that. He brings a lot of brings a lot of fascinating stuff, man. There's a ton of people. I agree. X is where it's at.
One of our listeners out there, he goes by WSMFP, big Panic fan there. So he told me the other day he's still got to figure out how to get this off. He's got an old Apple computer at the house, but he filmed and I know that Bowser knows about this. He filmed those 3 objects off of Grayton Beach. He was down there and has footage of that too himself, of those 3 dancing orbs, much like what I saw.
I saw those in
the early
Pensacola in 2021.
You saw those yourself?
That's what got me like really interested in diving deep on this, because
it
at the
3
time
orbs?
it was 3 orbs flashing, bing, 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 bing,
Dancing.
bing,
Were they
bing,
dancing
bing,
with each
bing,
other?
dancing, and then all of a sudden it went, all 3 lit up and went shh. I was like, what the?
That gives me
Wow.
chill bumps right now, man.
That's exactly what happened to you. As Blasey explained that. I know there's people that are watching this, listening right now that do not know that story. Tell that story, man.
On my arm right now. So yeah, this was the early '90s. We're heading out to this. There was this place outside of between Opp and Andalusia, out in the woods, man. You had to go way out there in the state forest, in the Conecuh State Forest. And
Bauxite mines.
Dude, it's about like that, right? You know what I mean? But it's out in outside of Covington County there, and so we're on our way out there, and it's 3 of us in the truck. It's me and Marty Campbell, Eric Bryan. I'm driving Marty's truck, brand new Chevrolet truck, fine truck. We're listening to country music. I've got my get up on. I got my cowboy boots on. I haven't even wore cowboy boots until then.
Nothing more you could ask for.
Whole
Ready to rock.
Hat on, Garth Brooks looking shirt on. We're fixing to go out there and dance. You know what I mean? Like get that old. Yes, sir.
No fences.
Oh yeah.
Just get her going.
Oh,
And
yeah.
dude, we're feeling good. We're having a good time. I mean, I haven't had a sip of alcohol. This is all just energy, getting ready to get out there, and just enjoy myself. Dude, I get out there.
Somebody felt that energy.
Yes, somebody felt that energy. It was too much. We're driving, and suddenly I look out in front of me, and I see like a little white something. Just kind of, I'm like, what is that? And then suddenly something joins in with it. And then a third thing joins in. And next thing you know, these things are kind of dancing. And it's like it's a little bit of a haze that night. So I was like, what am I looking at? There's no airport here. Like, I mean, I know where I'm at. I go out and hunt these woods all the time. I was like, there's nothing. Why is this happening right in front of me? And as I keep driving, they get more aggressive. They really start jumping across the sky. I mean, they're moving. I mean, it's like it's almost getting uncomfortable now. Like, I don't know what's going on. And this is the part right here that absolutely freaked me out. So I get nervous. Like I was over it, and I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm fixing to stomp the hell out of this thing and get out of here. Dude, I floored that truck. I mean, to the floor, pin it to the floor. We're running about 45. You know what we did? The tachometer stayed the same. We stayed the same speed. We didn't move at all. We just kept going. Running about 1,800 RPMs. Nothing changed, and I'm flipping out now in my brain. I can't even describe to them what's going on, and I'm looking at them going, the truck won't go. And Tony's like, punch it. And I was like, and I punch it again. It's like, dude, it's not going. We're freaking out. Dude, all of a sudden there's a dirt road to the right. I about flipped this truck to turn it to hit that dirt road, running about 45. Run down this dirt road. We just keep going, and I get away from it. It keeps moving in its direction. I go in a different direction, and it all ended. You know what I mean? Like, but it was such a weird.
And then you got control of the.
Yes.
Everything
back. Everything came back. The motor came back. I know it sounds crazy and stupid. And people wouldn't believe me, and I don't blame them because whatever. You know what I mean? But, dude, we went through. You could ask
But that's
Marty,
what happened.
Brian, they were there. They saw it. Marty's come on here and validated the story. But
he has. And if you remember, we talked, I sent you that Rogan where I think it was David Grush who came on there, and he's told the exact same story. I mean, I don't think there's too many of y'all out there that have seen this with your own eyes
Dude, after that, like, you couldn't tell me that something doesn't take over. There's something else, that there's not more out there. You know what I mean? Like, I knew what was
Yeah.
happening that night, so here we are. That's why we have this guy on, so.
Yeah, that's exactly
Good
right.
point, Aaron.
Aaron is totally right. It seems pretty arrogant of us to think we're the only society in the universe.
It is.
So why wouldn't there be UFOs? And MG says Y-Files is a great YouTube channel that explores all sorts of things.
So is Moon. So is Moon.
Okay. All right. I'm glad to see. I'm learning a lot tonight. This show's awesome.
This is great, man.
This is a great show. This is what we love to do, everybody. This is kind of our normal, what we've been doing. Not totally all the Bubba stuff every single time. We like to dive into stuff like this. This is fascinating to me.
And you know
Just
how many
fascinating.
people I've talked to over the years, because I live on the road late at night, out traveling the wide open roads. I've talked to so many drivers, bus drivers, truck drivers, other tour guys, other band guys that have seen stuff over the years. It's almost everyone has a story like that. You're out in the middle of somewhere, you're coming out of the truck stop, get back on the bus, you look over and you're like, what was that? And then the speed of something, when you know it's not a falling star, to move and stop and then move at the speed it is, you're like, what could that be? And nothing. I don't know of anything. There's nothing I know of that can move like that. What was that?
To get there at that time, nothing.
Nothing.
It's almost like someone's pointing a laser pointer at the sky. That's how they move.
Yes.
It's wild.
Yes.
Wild. That's wild. What's one of the craziest stories, personal experiences that you've heard from someone, Bowser, like a personal story?
So I had a buddy, and this was about 3 years ago. He told me this story. He went on a camping trip with his girlfriend, and this was up north, like near Ponce de Leon. He was up sort of in the shrubbage, and he said that they set up a campfire. They had a tent. They were hanging out, and he said that he just needed a break from the smoke, went down to the river to hang out. And he said all of a sudden, about 200 yards down to his right at the river, he just saw like a bunch of blinking lights. And he's like, what the hell? He's like, is that a hunter or something? And he said all of a sudden he saw like a door open and steam. And he said he saw two creatures get out, go to the water, like look at the water. And he's sitting there just shooken. He was like, I couldn't move. I was just basically like afraid. And he said that basically what happened was he didn't think they saw him. He knew they saw him because they turned and looked at him. And basically he like told me he got this telepathic read that they were laughing at him, being like, what's this guy so afraid of? He'll be all right. And then it was almost like comical. And he was sitting there scared. And all of a sudden they get up, they get back in the ship. And he says he literally sees it hover and fly away. And he told me that after a couple drinks. And he was like, nobody's ever going to believe me. He's like, but I know what I saw. He's like, I didn't smoke. I didn't drink that night. He's like, we were just hanging out, me and my girlfriend. He's like, my girlfriend thinks I'm crazy still to this day. I was like, I think the part of
that's the thing is there's too many of these. They were dismissed in the 50s and 60s, of like these people are crazy or whatever.
The recurring interest to me is the telepathic communication that these creatures seem to use time and time again. And I thought it was funny that they looked at him and the way he described it was that they were laughing at me for being so afraid. I was like, you got to admit, they have a sense of humor.
And they're not actually laughing. They're telling him that they're laughing at him. So he's receiving this information, but not in a form of communication that we ever use on Earth because it doesn't exist. Kind of like them somehow impairing a combustion engine and functions on a vehicle from a distance. I mean, that's powers and things we don't even know about here. We don't know that even exists.
There's a gentleman named Billy Carson. He's an African-American gentleman who lost his whole family over an event like this happening. He went on the Andrew Schultz Flagrant 1 podcast and told this incredible story. I got a link right here, where basically he talks about how he's in the kitchen with his wife and two kids. All of a sudden, all the lights go dim, and he's like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, these two alien creatures, which he describes as the prototypical gray, big eyes, appear in front of him. And the whole room is vibrating, and it feels tense. There's like a lot of pressure, and the lights are dim, and his family's no longer there, like next to him. And he's sitting there, and he's talking to them, and they basically just look at him, and they he was like, said he was trying to scream. He was grabbing the table, and nothing was coming out of his mouth. He couldn't move, really. And all of a sudden, they just disappear, and the lights come on back, and he starts freaking out. He said he lost his entire family because of it. I mean, yeah.
They thought he was crazy or something?
They thought he was crazy, yeah.
Wow. Hey, our buddy Aaron Ryan that commented a minute ago, he's from West Virginia. I bet he's seen or has some family
Oh,
members
yeah.
that have seen some weird stuff in West
Absolutely.
Oh, I
Virginia.
bet so. Yeah, they got that. They got that one zone up there in West Virginia where there's like a no signal zone. You know what I mean? Like where the government shuts that whole area down. Like I forget what it's called, but there's so much going on in that area. Like I
Can't
mean,
even, yeah.
who knows?
I think
Yeah.
I think where the culture's heading is, and I hope that we can have input and influence this, is just destigmatizing the stories. I think it will be cool for people to come out and be like, this is what I saw, this is what he saw. People can compare and contrast. We can really try to culturally, just like we were talking about earlier with civilian journalism, if official infrastructures and institutions aren't going to do it, then we can do it ourselves.
Man, I'm gonna say something I've never said before on here, like because I don't want to speak, like,
that's true.
but I am. So my stepfather, which basically my dad growing up, Joe Grimes, dude, Joe was like one of the
you go,
smartest
Higgy.
people that I'd ever met. Like just such a smart dude, and he was a pharmacist, and had his doctorate in pharmacy and everything else. Man, this guy was just super sharp. It's funny. I was looking at my box the other day. I was telling you about that box where I found all those cards. I had this Trivia Pursuit. Like I didn't play Trivia Pursuit with him, like the game itself. We would go out to eat, and I would just take the cards out and ask him questions, and he would just answer them all. And it was just more of a game of like, watch Joe answer every question I'm about to ask him. It's like I just enjoy doing that. So it's funny. I saw that box and got me thinking about this. But dude, when he was young, he was out walking out of the woods one time hunting, and he had an experience and where he was coming through the woods, and suddenly he came upon something that was like really bright. He was like, "What is this? What's going on?" And he got near it, and there was a craft hovering off the ground in an open area out of the woods, and it just froze him in place. I mean, he just was like frozen. You know what I mean? He said, and then this craft, kind of took its time. He said, and as fast as you could take your hand, right in front of me, this thing was like 50 feet, 100 feet in front of him. He said it just went, it was just gone, out of sight. He said, and he was just able to kind of return to, and it was like, did I dream that? What just happened? What just happened to me? You know what I mean? So, dude, he was so enthralled. You should see the books that he had, like, because he was well read, like, he did all his, but dude, he had so many books on this, and every time somebody talked about this, it was funny looking back. This was all like in the 80s and early 90s when people think you were like crazy. He didn't tell people about that. He kept that to himself. But you go into his library in his office, just books and books on alien activity and all this other stuff. So, dude, it's funny. It's like he's completely validated to this day, but he didn't want me to talk about it. I wouldn't talk about it with my friends, but now today I think we could speak about that because it was like, hold on.
Yeah, my dad
crazy,
has one of those stories, and I always thought I thought my dad was crazy. I figured he was drunk or something, but he didn't ever really want to tell the story either. But he was out on Wares Ferry Road outside of Montgomery. We had some family land out there, and he was out there doing something. Was closing some gates right at sunset. Everything's fine. Turned around, there it was hovering, the traditional sphere or saucer with the lights all around. The whole traditional. No, he didn't see an alien or anything, but he said the whole hovering right there by him, lights going. He said he was frozen. Him and his buddy couldn't move, couldn't do anything, and then. He said as fast, he said you couldn't imagine how fast it moved to get out of there. And he said he could see it detailed, plain as day. And he's like, I'm telling you, son, that's what I saw. I don't know, but I've seen a little green man, but I saw that 100%. I saw it. No, I wasn't drunk. No, I wasn't whatever. That's what I saw,
Saw what he saw.
And I was like, that seems wild. But now it seems like, and a lot of them, the consistency of the different stories line up so much. Like the lights that you two guys saw, you didn't know each other then. You couldn't have cooperated these stories ahead of time for all your lives.
No.
So,
my mistake was that instead of taking a video, I FaceTimed my buddy who was in the area, and I said, "Look at this! Look up at the sky right now." And he was like, "What?" He was on his couch. He went outside. He was like, "What the hell is that?" I was like, "I don't know." And then it flew away. And he was like, "Whoa!" And I was like, "You saw that too?"
Oh, but you had nothing documenting it because you just a good FaceTime, just you and him talking.
I told him, I was like, "Did you take any screenshots of that, please?"
They say we need Jim Noble on the podcast.
That's my dad. Oh, Lord.
That's your dad?
Big
Well,
deal.
let's get him on.
Man.
He has some theories and thoughts.
Oh, my God.
I would love it. Hey, gentlemen, I got to be heading out of here, but I sincerely
Bowser,
appreciate the offer to come
Me too.
on.
I
I'm
gotta eat
hoping
dinner.
this is the start of a long chapter, and
Yes,
I'm really
brother,
excited to see where
yes.
we take it from here. So,
Absolutely, brother. Appreciate you coming on here.
Good night,
too many
Stacy.
bongs, Stacy. Good luck, Stacy.
Good luck. Well, thanks so much, Bowser. Look forward to us doing this more. What a guest, dude. Blasey.
Oh, that was great.
Great guest, man. Good job. brother.
Unreal.
Good job, Blasey.
Man,
Unreal.
yes. That was fun,
Man.
guys. That was fun. It just like really just kind of just got the senses going. You know what I mean? Like, we
It
can dive
did.
on
It
those.
did. Tickled the senses. Really got
Yeah.
things going. Man, you know, the biggest disappointment on this whole deal, though, for me, JR, is that I'm not at props.
I know, right?
You know, I don't get to go post show with Bowser and Blasey and Blasey, the one man posse. So it's kind of a little disappointing. But
Yeah. I gotta go
Bowser
get.
showed
I
up.
gotta
He
go
showed
get
up and
Pat.
showed out tonight. I'm
he
really
did.
proud of
Oh
him.
yeah,
He did.
killed
I'm
it.
I'm
He was great.
beyond proud
Very
of him, man.
prepared, very well. But yeah, that was great, man. Great having him on. Thanks for the time. We're definitely gonna have him back on, and he'll be on the Patreon. He and Blasey will break down some of this stuff even
Yeah,
deeper
that's
on
a
the
great
Patreon.
thing. Look,
Ooh, yeah.
a good shout out, a good thing to think about right now, and we're live. We've created this Patreon. I've got an hour-long audio that I don't completely have permission to use yet, but I'm going to put it behind that paywall very, very
You mean
soon.
that one up there in Louisiana from that store?
Yes, sir. You've heard it.
Freaking
Because
believable, dude. That's
because
cr-
what Bowser
is
just
wild.
touched on, he just touched on parts that are ingrained into that, and it's wild. It is the
It
wildest
is.
thing I've ever heard in my life.
It
Wildest
really
thing
is.
I've
That
ever
may
heard.
be the wildest, most sincere story I've ever heard somebody tell. Like, and it's like he's saying this, like this is the way it is, and it's like,
Yeah.
You did what? What?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's wild.
And I just sat there and I just
And he
listened.
backs it up, dude. That's what's crazy. He
does.
backs it up over and over. It gets really deep off in some things I don't even know anything about, and he has like a lot of evidence. Anyway, yeah, I can't wait to hear this. Like, yes, thank you.
Oh yeah, that's
bring
gonna
that
be
to life. This is
unreal.
gonna be good.
Unreal. So yeah, everybody loved him. Everybody, I think we can all agree.
I don't think JR's heard it yet, has he?
I don't think
so.
you have.
We got to get it over to.
Yeah,
Send it
I'm
over
gonna
to the
send
group and let us all.
You-
JR,
you know what? You need to-
freaking believable. You just lay down at night and lay there and you're like, I can't believe what I'm hearing right now.
You and Cherise sit there. Y'all listen to it. I mean, she'll be enthralled.
It's like
Tammy,
Jessica
my
White
wife.
telling the best
I
story he's
I
ever
said,
told.
listen to this, and we're 40 minutes into it, and it's like it's been 7 seconds. It's like
Wow.
this is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
send
So
it to
yeah,
me. We'll
there's a
listen to it.
tease. That thing's out there. It does exist. That's just one of the kinds of pieces of content that we got that we holding on to some of this stuff. We've been waiting. So
Yep.
time to
Yep.
let some of that
Oh,
see the light.
God,
What
So
about
boys-
what you know what I think to cap the week, you know, because we had the big roast last week, and the funniest joke of the whole roast. It's like when one last thing on the aliens. Even Gronk knows that they're aliens. Me know there really are aliens. You know, me know we not the only people in the whole universe.
Oh, poor old
Thought that
Gronk.
was great.
It was
Yeah, they were
great.
wearing Gronk out on that, but he
They wore him
know.
out,
And I
but
like
he,
Gronk.
he handled it. I do too. He handled it really well, and he did well on his too. I mean, he came
yeah,
back
he
and
killed it.
roasted.
He was great.
killed it. Everybody,
Yeah, shout out,
man.
shout out to Gronk. He got me hooked up with a pair of tickets to Saints Tampa Bay game the year that Brady and them won the Super Bowl down there. We got to go see the Saints play them down there. Saints were actually one of the only teams to beat them that year on their run. But it was through a mutual friend of ours, Chris, who's in a band called Low Cash. He's friends with Gronk. He had done a music video with Gronk and all his brothers and stuff. So I hit him up. He said, yeah, Gronk, leave you 2 tickets. We'll call great seats, and Saints won. So appreciate that,
wow.
Gronk. Sorry that was giving you a
I
hard
don't know if
time,
got that
buddy.
Gronk hookup. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
so Bubba's got that Gronk. So I think Gronk's mom listens to Bubba all the time and donates to the show a bunch. I may be wrong, but I think she does.
Oh man, Shannon's
Nice.
coming on here right about time where I'm hungry already, and then I got to think about all the
of course you
food that
gotta
they
come in
make. I'm
here.
like, get out of here. All right, that's it.
Amanda
there's
said
Amanda.
that Bowser was great. I got chills. All of my outside lights are now on, just in case.
No kidding.
No doubt. No doubt. And our boy Shannon's Butcher Block says hello. Sorry he's late to the party. Brother, it's getting late for you. You're smoking meats and getting ready for tomorrow, man. Again, shout out to Shannon. If you're ever in Manny, Louisiana, you go to Toledo Bend to go fishing, you better go find him if you want the best barbecue in the whole state of Louisiana. No doubt.
Oh my God, I gotta get
No
over there
doubt. Well,
sometime,
boys,
man.
we've had a good one. This has been another fun night. Appreciate everybody for jumping in. If you haven't hit the like button, please hit that now. If you haven't subscribed, please do that. Go
Please do.
search all of our channels. Go to tigsbits.com. The links to everything is there. It's a one-stop shop for all that's Tigs Bits. And look for the link, Tigs Bits Show on Patreon. If you want to donate a little bit to the show, become a member, see some of this exclusive content we're going to put behind a little bit of a paywall because it's too damn good to just give it to you for free. Join in on that, and we'll have a little fun.
And like you mentioned earlier, it's going to help the show. We're going to be able to upgrade some equipment in certain places, pay for some of the services we use to make the show happen. And the more people that sign up, the more content we're going to put on there. If a bunch of people jump on there, and tomorrow we've got 150 people signed up for the Patreon, we're going to start dropping it like it's going out of style.
Hell yeah!
So,
hell yeah!
Come on.
I mean, yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it big.
Monkey dance,
monkey
you know
dance.
What I mean? Okay, got you, yes sir.
That's right. Y'all will hear that. Y'all will hear that.
Shout out
Friday.
to everybody who jumped in and commented and was part of the show. I know Sparky and Aaron and our boy Paul Rogers and all the Bubba Army showed up tonight as always. Thank everyone for jumping on, man. This was fun. This was great. Uncle Iggy's
Sponsored
credit
by
card.
Uncle Iggy's credit card.
I love it.
Hell yeah, keep that
right
credit card coming, brother. I love it.
Yep.
Well, all right, boys. We'll see you guys next week.
See y'all.